Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we identified a couple of problems with our satellite that we had launched, and we fixed many of those problems. Now we need to launch into a polar orbit this time, which is going to be interesting. That's going to require additional delta V, but I think it's pretty clear from the last one that we had plenty of delta V for that. So let's go ahead and open up our heavy lifter. There is one thing that I forgot to include on this last episode, and that is additional batteries. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to toss on, I think, just a Z200 rechargeable battery pack, and we're going to put that... Wait, this is the autosave version. Hang on a moment. Let's open up... No, I don't want to do that. Stop it. Don't save. Don't save. Okay. We want to open the satellite heavy lifter. This variant of it, because we don't need the Science Junior and we don't need the Mystery Goo containment unit. So I'm going to toss in a Z200 battery pack up here. There we go. And this should be slightly better. Slightly. Actually, it should be completely better. This should solve basically every problem that we had with the previous design. I want to check the center of mass compared to the aerodynamic overlay. Okay, that is an issue. So we're going to grab our Delta Deluxe winglets and move up to quad coupling and bring that on down to be about here instead. Our center of mass has changed, so we do need to adjust that. Let's go ahead and launch this into a polar orbit this time. Now I could have just, actually maybe I should have rotated it, but we're just going to twist on our way up. It should be fine. Okay, so we're going to load this in, and we're off on a polar orbit. Now, I want to check if we are prograde or retrograde here. We're going this direction, so we want to go northward, not southward. Got it. So northward is, of course, going to be basically virtually straight down. Let's SAS on, throttle up, and off we go. I'm going to rotate to here. Ish. There we go. And we're going to start heading on over this direction. Cool. We're going north. Our first polar launch of this series. We're wanting to drift off of this point. But for the moment, it's okay-ish. Okay-ish. Let's hop over to maneuver mode, so we can see what our apoapsis is looking like. And I do think that we probably want to get some altitude here. We're going to be running out of SRBs shortly. And that's definitely going to be slightly awkward for us. Okay, our SRBs are out of here. So now I'm checking in on our apoapsis, and our apoapsis is looking pretty decent. So we're just going to be holding right around here, checking in on all of this. I'm going to want to decouple this eventually. I'm going to move that into its own stage for now. And let's adjust our heading a little bit. We're wanting to pull down this direction slightly, which is certainly awkward. But it should be okay. We currently have an apoapsis of 50 kilometers. So at this point, I'm going to head over and we're going to get pure horizontal speed. Excellent. We're heading basically due north at this point. We're going to push our apoapsis up a little bit further. And we need to get some additional speed here. Let's move into... We're already in orbital velocity here. I'm noting that we're going to actually have to pull this down a little bit, because we're pretty far off. Oh my. Okay. Well, we'll just park around here and do a bit of a corrective burn. I guess that's because we were pulling off so much, but that's fine. We're just kind of wobbling around for the moment, but we've got another 30 seconds of burn. And our speed is accelerating. We're going to be pushing up our apoapsis to about 100 kilometers again. Okay, I'm just going to position us about here. 90 kilometers and 100 kilometers. So we've got some some burn left in this tank, but less than last time, and that is completely expected. We're going to go ahead and decouple our TD12 decoupler. There we go. Beautiful. And very soon now, we're going to look to circularize this. That's a little more than we need. We don't need much to get into orbit here. We don't need much at all. That'll do. Just 148 meters per second. So let's go ahead and steer on over there. All we've got is our 2 reaction wheels and our Delta Deluxe winglets, which those don't honestly give us a lot of control surface, but it'll be fine. And we're about to hit space here. Checking in on our amount of electric charge, that's so much better. I love it. And we are now officially in space. So let's go ahead and warp for this burn. We can combine together these stages. Not these stages, these stages. And we can get rid of that stage. Cool. So we're going to burn here in about 45 seconds. This is definitely flying much better. But the real test is to come. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and burn. Beautiful. That gets us into orbit. We've still got 181 meters per second to go, too. So that's excellent. Our timing was kind of bad, but that's okay. We should have plenty of Delta V to make this happen. Obviously, we should have probably waited until we were, not at this inclination, but it's fine. So at the periapsis here, I think, actually, where are we in the orbit right now? We are here? Okay. So yeah, at the periapsis, well, really, not even. At about here, we want to push up. So we're going to bring that on up to be about even with the ascending node. So I'm going to bring this around like so. There we go. And we probably want to change our timing here slightly. About like that. That'll do. So you can see here, we're off by a lot of degrees, but we should have more than enough Delta V to make this happen. We'll rotate around and burn off the rest of our fuel here in about 16 minutes. Now is not the time for it. However, we can grab our science from space here. So let me go ahead and extend our antenna. Let's grab our thermometer. We'll log that temperature and transmit that. That completes this contract. And that's perfect. Boy, this thing is really moving. Okay. So let's hold here. Polar orbits are weird. And yeah, that timing could have definitely used some work, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure we'll have enough. So we'll align for this. There we go. And we'll just warp in a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and burn. Beautiful. And off we go. Are we pulling off of the node? The node is really booking it. But sure. The node is really booking it across the nav ball, but it's fine. It's completely fine. So we're pushing that on up. Weirdness is ensuing, but we'll be okay. We've kind of offset our node a little bit here. 1.5 meters per second to go. There. That'll do. Good enough. So at the apoapsis here, this is also the ascending node. So we are going to, once we're here, figure out which direction we need to go. Is it this way? Let's see. I'm not actually sure. It's one of these ways. So we need to think about this. We are going towards the periapsis right now. No. That's the maneuver there. Right now, we just passed the periapsis. We're going towards the apoapsis. So we're going this direction. And if we were to rotate this, this is the direction that we want. Okay, so we bring that around. And then we're going to have to toss in some retrograde to finish that off, as well as change our timing on it. Ish. Okay. We'll see about lining this up a bit. We're almost certainly going to have to retrograde burn. Yes, we're definitely going to need to retrograde burn. Okay. Well, actually, you know what? Let's not worry about that right now. Turn that off and bring this down to 0. Let me restart this. Let's just line this up in such a way. On this polar orbit, gimbal locking is obnoxious. But let's just bring this around to about here. Then we're going to have to retrograde a bit to bring it around to about here. That puts us on the correct inclination and very close to the correct orbit. We can actually toss in potentially some radial. And then a tiny amount of retrograde here. And then we would need a little bit of that juice. I mean, we can tweak this basically forever. But this is very close, right? So let's actually just line up the periapsis here. Approximately. Okay, you know what? We're just going to do the inclination change. We're not going to bother with lining up the rest. We'll get that in a second burn. It's fine. We don't have to do this in a single burn. So we're going to retrograde here until we have this lined up. Which we need to be angling the camera like that. That's probably close enough. Now, I don't think that this will get us there for our contract because of our difference between our apoapsis and periapsis. We will adjust those not at the ascending node. Okay. So that's going to be 700 meters per second. That's not too bad. We're going to be there in 4 hours. Let's go ahead and warp. Beautiful. So, of course, Kerbal is down here. And that's looking good. So we will burn this in about 1 minute. Why do we not have electric charge right now? Ah. Well, that's awkward. Okay, so we're going to put this into hibernation. Apparently, we can't put it into hibernation. We don't have electric charge here. We do have some sun exposure, though. It's just not enough to run our Probodobodine. That's my own fault. But it's very awkward. We can't throttle up either. We're just fully control locked here. Very awkward indeed. Now we have some electric charge, but that's only because of the time warp. So we're going to have to do another orbit here. And let our electric charge build up a little bit. And what we need to do right now is go into hibernation. SAS on for the moment. Actually, let's take our hibernation off, and let's just rotate this. There we go. That's going to make things a lot easier. Perfect. So now we're going to bring this back around. Let's add an orbit to this. There we go. And we'll start that burn in a couple of hours. Cool. So we just add an orbit to it. It's not a big deal. It will be absolutely fine. Now our solar panel is aligned correctly. And we'll warp on over. Now we'll be burning in about a minute. 30 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay. 5 seconds here. 2, 1, 0. Cool. This thing definitely still wants to pull off to the side, which is a little weird, but we're able to hold it, so it's all good. Okay. We'll just park about here for the time being. And we're just watching our ascending node number shift here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. It's currently on 1 degree. For the moment, that's fine. Ish. That's now 0, so that's perfect. So once we reach this periapsis here, we're going to want to make a corrective burn so that our apoapsis is basically even with the target apoapsis. Something along the lines of this mostly radial, somewhat retrograde burn. That'll do the trick. Excellent. And then we'll have to correct our periapsis at that apoapsis, which isn't a big deal. So let's get aligned over here. And this time before we warp, I'm going to make sure that our solar panels are facing the sun. Good thing I checked. Cool. Okay, and let's head on over. Well, hello, Moon. So we're going to burn this in about an hour. Make that 10 minutes. Make that 1 minute. 30 seconds. And let's begin this burn right about now. Okay, that's clearly too much power for this burn. So we'll just hold here, targeting this marker as best we can. How's that looking? Honestly, that counts. Apparently we don't have to adjust the periapsis. That's within the margin of error. That's wild. I definitely expected another burn there. But cool. There we go. Completion reward. So let's go ahead and head on back to the Space Center then, because now we need to work on another contract. And how much cash do we have right now? We've made a lot of cash recently. Let's see how much we've got. Okay, almost 700,000. Not too bad. I'd like to go into the administration building here, and I want to put in a fundraising campaign. So the most that we can do right now is, I believe, a 25% campaign. So we'll put in a 25% commitment fundraising campaign. There we go. So that's going to give us money for reputation. Fantastic. Let's see. Equatorial orbit of Kerbal. I don't feel like that's necessary. 3 Kerbals rescued from orbit. 4 Kerbals to rescue from orbit of Kerbal. I don't feel like that's strictly speaking necessary right now either. Plant a flag on the moon is something we will be doing soon. So we'll grab that for the advance. And these 4 are all moon related. We haven't even orbited the moon yet. So maybe we should consider orbiting the moon. We can hop into the vehicle assembly building. And we can load up our moon flyby machine. Now this we determined probably would have been able to orbit the moon. Probably. Honestly, this is so much fuel in this. But what we really need on this is a set of wings here. That would be very important because we need to be able to control this. So I'm just going to use... I feel like tail fins are overkill for this, but maybe not. That's definitely pretty overkill. We can drop them down here, though. That'll give us a lot of capabilities, which will probably be for the best. Another thing we could do is ditch these thumpers and go with different heavy lifters if we wanted to. However, the major problem with this design was always... Is this really where this is? No, okay. The major problem with this vehicle was always the fact that we had a hard time flying through the low atmosphere, right? So it was never a problem of Delta V. We could get more Delta V out of it with our current tech, but I don't think we need to. Do we need to add any science to it? Let's open up our service bay here and take a quick look inside. We have the barometer, we have the thermometer. I think this is all we need for our current tech. And then as far as our return goes, we've got the heat shield. Yeah, it should be completely fine. This should do the trick, in theory. So we're going to need to be bringing probably... Let's see, Jeb's already had a flyby of the moon. Valentina has not. So I think we'll bring Valentina here for some extra XP. We definitely need to bring Bob for resetting our experiments. That is definitely a thing that we need. And we can rename this to the Moon Orbit Machine. Beautiful. The plan here is to orbit the moon with this. If we feel like we need extra Delta V, which I don't. If we feel like we needed extra Delta V, we could liquid fuel this. That would definitely be an option. Bump this up to like 86.5. Get that thrust to weight slightly higher. 88. Okay. Something kind of like this. You know what? I'm kind of feeling like liquid fueling this no matter what. So let's ditch that, and let's put on some T800s. Not 4 of them, but we're going to put T800s like here. And then I'm going to put one here, and then one here. Now, that doesn't add all that much cost. Actually, I'm going to undo that real quick. I want to check. 20,000. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be cheaper to run the SRB method, but I don't feel like we need to be too concerned about that. I think that we can get away with launching this with reliance rather than a swivel here with these tail fins and the swivel in our center core. So I don't think these outside ones need to gimbal necessarily. Let's see what our thrust to weight here is. That's only 1.12. That's not a lot of thrust to weight. Ditching these brings it to 1.35. I mean, this would be ideal. It's wildly overkill. I'm quite certain of this. Yeah, with only having that amount of thrust to weight, I think that we should go with the SRB method. I think that this is the better plan. It's lower Delta V, but I'm reasonably certain that we have more than enough to do our mission with this. Okay. Well, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to look to orbit the moon. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Ken2In, James, Shadowwolf, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisol, Kadra, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.